play the Game of Thrones, you win. Or you die.
There's only one war that matters. And it is here.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. You guys all probably saw HBO's release date trailer for Game of Thrones. There's a couple Easter eggs in here. I'll explain what's going on. They're pulling a Marvel. For everybody that watched the Infinity War trailer last year, they're kind of doing the same thing where they're trying to mislead you a little bit. So I'll explain some of the Easter eggs. But George R. R. Martin also did an interview talking about Winds of Winter. So we got a whole bunch of new stuff to talk about. There's a new round of that Fire and Blood book giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. First, the big thing about the trailer. If you guys haven't noticed, HBO, the past couple of weeks, every week has done this big marketing blitz. So early theory, they're building up towards an actual trailer reveal. They're just trying to get everybody hyped up heading into the holidays. They kind of did the same thing last year with a couple marathons, but it wasn't quite as big as what they're doing right now. And that's because the season, as we know, is premiering in April much earlier than it was premiering last year. So they're not waiting quite as long to start promoting it, thankfully, meaning we get new Game of Thrones material faster. But I think most of us were a little confused with the slogan they were using to promote this trailer, For the Throne, because at this point in the story, most of the main characters don't give a crap about the Iron Throne. Really, this is like Cersei's slogan. She's the last person that's holding out, like, I will not give up this power. But start to finish, these are the clips that they put in the trailer. You have Jon Snow at the Battle of the Bastards, Daenerys at Illyrio's house in Season 1 getting ready to get married to Khal Drogo, Cersei about to do her walk of shame. Then as the camera focuses on the Red Keep, the quote-unquote Iron Throne, they give her that voiceover dialogue. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. Then you start to see a pattern emerge in the way that they cut these clips together. So you see characters losing their lives, attempting to win the Game of Thrones, quote unquote. But the problem with this is that like Ned Stark, for instance, like you see the clip of him getting beheaded by Joffrey, he was not playing the Game of Thrones. Like he did not care at all. He didn't even want to go to King's Landing. He only did it because he was commanded by his friend and his king, Robert Baratheon. So you're starting to see that the trailer was cut together in a very misleading fashion. Like most of these characters didn't really care about the Iron Throne when they were doing these things. Daenerys with her dragons burning Pyat Pree in the House of the Undying, Jaime on the Field of Fire battle last season, then Jaime pushing Bran out of the tower window during Season 1, Sansa greeting the returned Bran in Winterfell last season, Tyrion being led to his trial, Joffrey getting married to Marjorie at the Purple Wedding, Ned Stark's betrayal by Littlefinger in Season 1, Littlefinger being executed by Sansa and Arya last season. Some of the clips do play into the idea of when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. Littlefinger definitely was one of the characters that played the Game of Thrones. They highlight some of the major betrayals, the Red Wedding, Ser Jorah, Jon Snow confronting Theon for his sacking of Winterfell back in Season 2, the Queen of Thorns poisoning Joffrey during the Purple Wedding. They highlight some of the major alliances, the Wildlings joining forces with the Night's Watch during Hardhome, Jon Snow's Northern Alliance to fight the Boltons, the Karstarks, and the Umbers. Weirdly enough, they highlight some of the risks people took, Jaime and Cersei's long-running relationship. That's another good example of something that doesn't really fit with the For the Throne hashtag, because the reason for them being in that relationship doesn't really have anything to do with their play for the Iron Throne. It would be them splitting apart, like that would be a sacrifice that they make for the throne, and they didn't do that. Jaime only left at the end, and his leaving had nothing to do with him wanting the Iron Throne. They highlight some of the sacrifices people made. Most of you realize that Tommen throwing himself out of the window here isn't them showing you Tommen's sacrifice for the throne. It's Cersei sacrificing Tommen in her pursuit of power. When they flash the card of the oaths people swore and the Night King's army marches south into Westeros, they're mostly referencing the Night's Watch oath to protect the realms of men. There's a couple more clips of Jon Snow protecting everyone as they race for Daenerys' dragons last season, and then they flash the hashtag for the throne. So Infinity War style, they're giving you a fake Hulk to mislead you about what the true theme of season 8 is going to be. Mostly I think because HBO doesn't want to give anything away before they're ready to. Like, we'll get a trailer with proper footage and it'll, I'm sure, be cut in a very misleading way, so we'll have to try and figure out how they're trying to misdirect us. But just remember that this is a really good example of how marketing campaigns almost have nothing to do with what the actual plot of the thing you're going to see is. They do it with movies all the time. Marvel is now famous for it. Game of Thrones Season 8 is going to be one of the biggest things that HBO does in a long time, so they obviously want to build as much hype as possible without giving anything away until they drop that actual trailer, which hopefully will come sometime in the next month. So remember, there's a progression of marketing campaigns. First you get pictures, then a couple weeks after that you usually get a teaser or a trailer or something like that. Usually around this time of the year every season they have revealed some kind of teaser, so no worries. The real purpose of this was to get you hyped up and to reveal that April would be the release date. But if you think about it this way, True Detective is starting in January, it'll air all of its episodes, and then there's a rumor right now that Big Little Lies Season 2 is going to air after that. HBO typically only does their 1-hour dramas once per week, so that means that all the True Detective episodes, then probably all the Big Little Lies Season 2 episodes Sunday to Sunday, then unless they're going to start doubling up episodes on Sundays to get through Big Little Lies Season 2 faster, the earliest Game of Thrones Season 8 could premiere would be the last week in April, which would be April 28th. They have not released the official schedule for Big Little Lies Season 2, so if we do find that they're going to double up on episodes to get them out quicker and premiere Game of Thrones faster, I will totally do a video about it. But right now I would just mark your calendar tentatively for April 28th. Like I said though, there was a big Winds of Winter interview that George R. R. Martin did. He was actually trying to promote a couple of his other series, and he has the Fire and Blood book coming up, but every time he does a big interview, he always talks a little bit about Winds of Winter, so this is actually pretty good. He talks about how the show has made it harder for him to write the book, so this is me reading his quote verbatim. He says, "The show has achieved such popularity around the world, the books have been so popular and so well received, that every time I sit down, I'm very conscious that I have to do something great, and trying to do something great is a considerable weight to bear. On the other hand, once I really get rolling, I get into that world, and that happened recently with Fire and Blood. I was going to sleep thinking of Aegon and Jaehaerys and waking up thinking of them, and I couldn't wait to get to the typewriter. The rest of the world vanishes, and I don't care what I'm having for dinner, or what movies are on, or what my email says, or who's mad at me this week because Winds of Winter isn't out. All that is gone, and I'm just living in the world I'm writing about." So that's him just saying that the show has become so big that expectations for Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring have gotten so big around the world that it's causing him problems when he's actually sitting down to write. But recently there was an illustrator doing the cover for one of the international editions of Winds of Winter that said that they finished their cover, so they expect it to be released sometime next year. The publishing house probably wouldn't commission a whole bunch of art for the book if they didn't think the book was actually going to start selling within the next year. But the other really cool quote that he had about Winds of Winter is he said that, "I've been struggling with it for a few years. The Winds of Winter isn't so much a novel as a dozen novels, each with a different protagonist, each having a different cast of supporting players and antagonists and allies and lovers around them, and all of these weaving together in an extremely complex fashion, so it's very challenging." The idea that Winds of Winter has grown almost too complex for him to finish in a timely fashion has been a thing for a long time in the fandom. Like, everybody realized that a long time ago. If I do get any more news about Winds of Winter, are there any more rumors, I will totally include it in a video, no worries, and I will do Fire and Blood videos when that book is released. Congratulations, Ryan Watts. You're the giveaway winner from my last big video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here for my Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 1 preview video, and click here for my history video on the ancient Stark Kings of Winter. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.